There we go. I got it. I'm a
Got
genius.
it?
Yep, I'm a genius.
I had plenty of faith in you,
I
bud.
got it.
What you do?
So we have to have the YouTube Studio open as well on the other screen, and I guess
Makes
it
sense.
generates a new stream key every time. So I have to put in a new stream key every time.
Okay. Is it recording it or?
Well, it's live right now. We're 30 seconds in.
Okay.
So
So
now you
let's
should be able
see.
to see it because it's up.
Let's see who's here. How's it look?
It's on a little. I mean, it's like a little screen, and then you can see like the analytics, the stream settings.
Oh yeah, it shows up now.
Do you see it now?
One person watching. Yep.
Nice. There we go.
There you go. Well, I clicked on it. It's loading.
Okay. Yeah, that's the other thing is we don't know.
Okay, looks clean.
You see it?
Yeah,
And you can
all
see the chat and
overlay.
everything.
The little guys look good. Say something.
Check, check. Hello, 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 hello.
All right.
Okay. Well, we figured that out. I like it.
Cool. So how do we now send out a
I guess we would just send out our YouTube link, right?
yeah, I am frozen in time.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're moving over here. I see you. I see you on the stream at least, blinking. So.
Okay. All right.
So we figured it out. So now it's just going to be kind of figuring out the stream health and the analytics and everything to see how the latency and everything is working.
Let me see, who can we text this to give us some feedback? What is the
I sent it to Bill. Well, I told him we were live. We can get
he's
somebody
probably
in
looking
here. Yeah.
probably looking on Twitch.
What the hell's going on? Let me
It's
see.
got a healthy delay.
It should only be a 10-second 10-second thing. All right. So when I click on the live, okay, cool, comes right up. Sweet.
Can we see how many
So then I can
people
click
are
share.
on?
I can click share, and then I can go to Bill, and I can paste, send, and there's the live link. So you just send it from. It's just like sharing a YouTube video. Just click the share button, copy the link, and then send it, or you post it on YouTube or Twitter and stuff.
All right, so I can just pull it up right from the. So I can just go to our channel,
Okay. Okay.
click on live. Got 3 people watching.
Well, whoever's in here, we need them to get in the chat. Make sure this thing's working. Let me see. I'll post it on our Twitter.
Let's see here.
Yeah, there is about a 15-second delay, it sounds like, on the audio.
Yeah.
So we'll have to mess with that because that's going to be another thing we're going to have to kind of get used to.
Looks like we're on with 5 folks. Welcome aboard,
But-
y'all. Stay
So this
patient
is
with us.
Yeah, this is the first ever YouTube stream I've ever done. We've ever done as a team, obviously, but me personally
Right.
as well. Coming from 3 years of streaming, this is my first time messing with YouTube. So we are going to get into some sports talk, guys. We're just getting stuff figured out. If you guys are in the chat, get in here, say what's up, tell us what you think about life. While we're multitasking here, do you want to talk about basketball? I know we weren't there last week. I know last week, my grandfather passed away last Monday. Super cool dude, man. That was a tough one, but we made it through. And my grandmother's doing good. Family came into town. Got to spend some time with my sister this weekend, and my dad surprised him at the beach for his 60th birthday. We all pulled into the parking lot, and he was like, "Why are so many people here?" And then he saw all of us getting out of the car at the same time. It was so funny. So that was pretty sweet. That was a good Saturday.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's so Tim Senior always
Big
likes
Tim.
seeing a smile on his face. Always likes seeing a smile on that man's face.
There's
So,
Bill. Okay, Bill's
good
in
job
here.
by you guys.
Dollar Bill. If you guys don't know Bill,
Gee.
obviously, he has been the only special guest we've ever had on the stream.
Haha, the one and only.
That's it. Yeah, the only dollar Bill that I know. I will never call anybody else that, by the way, just so you know. Any other Bill I meet, I'm gonna be like, you're like 2-cent Bill, 50-cent Bill.
There he is. Bill, give us some feedback. Let us know how
I think
what
we
it
ought to.
looks like and how it's going.
I want to talk to you because you and I only talked through text when the whole Magic stuff went down, and
Yeah,
I know it was kind of
dumpster fire.
it was kind of a mixed emotions because I know you've been a big Vooch fan for a long time.
Big Vooch fan.
And I think most people in Orlando were a big Vooch fan because he was the most, useful player on our team. If you want to just cut right through all the garbage, but he's gone now. He's gone forever, and he's not coming back.
Yeah, it was it was sad to see him go. As a Magic fan now for about 21 years. We've seen some guys come through and the Tracy McGrady's of the world in my time. Obviously, we had Shaq and Penny, and those guys were a little bit before my time as a Magic fan. But Vooch, while the team is not great, it wasn't great. That's a guy that you can really get behind. He came in. He was what people thought was a throw-in in the Dwight Howard trade. And, 9 years later, the guy was just playing lights out and was good for a double-double every night. And just the only constant that the Magic had. And I tell you what, I knew that they were going to make some moves. I knew they were going to shake it up.
Yeah.
But when I saw his name come across the ticker, completely caught off guard. It was a double take for me. I had to look twice on my phone, and I just could not believe it. And then, of course, it was the first of 3 moves that they made. So, with Gordon going and Fournier going, and I have no problems with those 2 guys going, but Vooch, that one hurt. And you know what? It hurt him. I don't know if you saw the video of him, even in Chicago, talking about the Magic fans and the city and the organization. And the man could barely speak. I mean, he could barely speak and get it out. And, it was nice to see that in the sense, to see a guy whom this, organization meant so much to, and to see him react like that. But by the same token, it's like, you know what, a guy that wants to be here that much and loved it here so much, you couldn't find a way as an organization to make it work and to get some packages together to get something around him and reward him for wanting to be here. For as much as we want to bitch and whine about guys, not wanting to stick around, here we are getting rid of the one guy that does want to be here. And
so do you think they're tanking?
Absolutely.
I mean, they got rid of their 3 best players, essentially.
Right, and I think they're tanking in what, is a strategic way. You know what I mean? They're tanking in a way where we have a lot of young guys, and we know we're going to lose games. We'll go out there, play hard, compete, like they have the last 2 games. They've lost both games, but they've lost, close games. So They go out there, they compete, they're playing hard. They give Magic fans something to watch for the rest of the season, and ultimately they're going to lose. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. Competitive team that plays hard, that gives you something somewhat exciting moving forward into the future. But by the same token, they're losing games, which ultimately I think is what they're, quietly what they want to do. Not the players or the coaches, but the front office and anybody else that has anything to do with the team, so they can get the best possible pick. So it's going to be an interesting watch to see what they do and to bring this thing together. Health is a big part of it, but that's been the case for the Magic for years. Anytime they had any players, it's all about health. They just can't seem to stay healthy. So if they can get those guys and Markel Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, on the court, they can get Mo Bamba playing to the potential that everybody believes is there. They can get R.J. Hampton is a kind of an interesting one coming from Denver. Young guy with a lot of hops and a lot of excitement. If he can put it all together, and we'll see what happens. And I still think they need to get some veteran presence in there, even moving forward. Obviously not this year, but next year. When you have a team that's so young, you have to have some kind of veteran presence in there to help guide those guys as you move along, and to teach them how to be proper, NBA basketball players, professional basketball players. So interesting to see what happens moving forward.
So, I guess what is the rule on going into the draft? How long do you have to be out of high school to go into the NBA?
I believe now. Well, I know they've been talking about doing the whole, back to selecting high schoolers.
Right.
But I believe that right now the rule still stands where I think 1 year removed. So
It's 1 year? Okay.
I believe you're going to see. Yeah. So you'll see these guys go to college for 1 year and then off they go into the NBA. So truthfully, I don't know if can't remember offhand if we've had this conversation or not, but I think they should make it longer, truth be told. Half these guys, very few and far between, the LeBrons of the world, the Kobes of the world, that are going to come in and make an immediate impact. For the most part, these guys come in and take them, a good 3, maybe even 4 years sometimes to actually get going and to becoming these, bona fide stars.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, why not leave them in college, provide some excitement for college, let them mature a little bit, let them grow into their bodies a little bit, and then provide a little bit. I think the NBA would be better served for it, because right now I think teams are squeezing out veteran guys to make space for a young guy with potential that may or may not become something. You know what I mean? And then you have quality, veterans that are being left out of the league that still have, a couple years left in them to help a team, are being pushed out because these guys are just not they're bringing in these potential guys.
It's interesting just because, I think everyone in Orlando knows when Vooch got traded, I think everyone kind of knew what was happening. Like when the Aaron Gordon trade went down and everything, that was expected. Everybody talking about getting rid of Aaron Gordon and this and that was expected. But when Vooch went, I think everybody was like, okay, we're blowing up the team. And that was what I told you too, is I think that Orlando's fan base was tired of fighting for an 8 seed every year to get into the playoffs, and being this mediocre team that was a bottom feeder in the playoffs, and then we had to shock everyone if we wanted to make it to the next round. I think this is their way of showing that they've been listening, and I am 100% behind this, and I know you're a little bit more passionate about Orlando Magic basketball than I am, but at the same time, it's nice. It's almost refreshing to see them making a move, saying, okay, we need to figure out what's working and what's not. And should they have been building around Vooch? Maybe, but for them to get what they needed, I think they had to trade him to get what they needed. And who knows what they're going to do with everything that they got? You never know. So
yeah, I feel like some of the packages that they did get were very mediocre, to say the least. Like I felt like they can get a little bit more. Now, I did hear through some talk radio locally here where they were talking about how Aaron Gordon potentially was just like, he thought, and in his mind he feels like he's this big superstar, right? And he's not. He's a middle of the pack guy. He has potential. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll unlock it now with Denver. But I mean, I guess that package, I mean, it is what it is. The Evan Fournier one is the one that got me a little bit. The guy was averaging 19 points a game. He's a scorer, inconsistent scorer at that, but he is a scorer that can help any team. And for them to get back, what they got, it's like, I mean, they got a guy that didn't even suit up for him. He just he got waived before. I don't even think he got on a plane headed to Orlando. In Jeff Teague, and so that one surprised me, and the Vooch one was a major surprise for me because I read something from the Magic front office that said that they were blown away and they had no intentions going into the deadline to move Vooch, but they were blown away by the package and felt like they had to make the move. If that's what you're being blown away by, then maybe we definitely need to reconsider who the front office guys are, because that was not a package that would blow anybody away.
No.
No disrespect to any of the guys that we got coming over, but if that's what's going to blow your socks off, that package for an all-star center, then we probably need to reconsider who's running our organization here in Orlando. So, they have some work to do, and I think this is going to be their make it or break it. They've been here now for a couple of years. They've drafted a couple of guys. Haven't really hit on them just yet. We'll see what happens now.
I never feel like a first round pick in the NBA is nearly as sexy as a first round pick in the NFL, if that makes sense. For some reason, the NBA draft to me, if you don't have a top 5 pick, it's a crapshoot. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get. It's so hard to explain because obviously I compare it to football a lot more because it's a little bit. I'm used to seeing that and being able to see that there's so many different positions and everything. I think that's the change too with the way the NBA has evolved is that every player can play every position. And so it's not like, oh man, this guy is the best shooting guard. It's not like saying, oh, this is the best wide receiver in the country. And it's that's where I think it gets a little bit lost in translation when someone gets a first round pick and it's like, cool, we got a first round pick, but what pick is it and who is it that we're going after? Because normally, you know who your 1, 2, and 3 guys are in the NBA draft, and that's about it. After that, it's like, we need, nobody says, oh, we need this or we need that. No, you need somebody that is taller than 6'7", can shoot threes, can drive to the hoop, and and play defense. Those are the only 3 skills you really need. You know what I mean? There's not anybody that sticks out, especially going into next year. Who knows what we're going to be looking at? I know there's some high school prospects that kid from where is he from? Wisconsin or something? That Chet Lemon or whatever his name is, that 7'3" kid that weighs like 190 pounds or something, saying he plays like Marcus Camby defense and he's kind of like Dirk Nowitzki with the ball. But other than that, man, I don't know, man. I'm not excited about this until we kind of see what happens with it. So that's about where I'm at with Orlando Magic. Now we had some other moves though in the NBA, didn't we? There was some decent stuff that went on.
Yeah, well, LaMarcus Aldridge paid a bunch of money to get himself out of San Antonio and has now found a new home with the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets slowly trying to create a, or steal a championship, if you would. Their starting lineup now, when healthy, should compete with anybody, if not be better than anybody's, to include the Lakers. And then you had Drummond was released by Cleveland, and now he's actually a Laker. So the Lakers making their own push to solidify their starting 5. So now that puts, potentially it would put Drummond at center and move Anthony Davis to the forward spot. So that's going to be interesting how that works.
Look at this. It's making me yawn talking about basketball. Let's be honest. Man, there's 2 teams to talk about. That's it. There's the Nets and the Lakers. There's the only 2 teams to talk about.
That is the problem with the NBA, that they don't have nearly enough out there to keep people interested. So, it's sad when for us here locally, the most interesting thing is our team getting blown up. So, it is what it is. So,
hey, can't be mad at that, I guess.
But yeah.
So we had I did see, and there's not a whole lot of NFL news that's happened in the last week or two. The one big thing is the 17-week season is on the agenda for next year.
Right.
And the Bucks became the first team in like 50 something years or something to re-sign every one of their starters. on
Yeah.
offense and
Did
defense.
they finally re-sign? Did they re-sign Antonio Brown? He was, I think, the
I
lone
think so.
kind of holdover from it.
Was he a starter though?
I'm sure Tom Brady threw like $10 at him and said, "Come on over, bud."
Yeah, you can stay in my pool house.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he could
like...
probably stay at any part of that house and you won't see him for ages. So for everybody who's like, "Oh my God, he lives in his house." Well, if you see Tom Brady's house right now,
he is not re-signed.
He could live. Okay. All right. Interesting.
So, but he was also not considered a starter, obviously.
Brady really wanted him. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, who knows?
So,
I mean, there's still time, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. It's funny because they said Jimmy G's not getting traded, right? Jimmy G's not getting traded. Jimmy G's our guy. Jimmy G's not getting traded. That is code for what? Jimmy G's
that's code that he's going to get traded. Yeah, that's what that is.
Yes, that's like, you know what I mean? That's a good old, 2-year extension to a head coach in any sport, only to last half a season after that and get canned.
They have the 3 pick now.
I mean, it's just the way it is.
They have the 3rd pick in the draft. So, I mean, did we talk about? We didn't talk about this. You and I I sent you a text. No. The Miami Dolphins went crazy.
Yeah,
in like one day. They pulled. I mean, it was like watching that movie Draft Day. Like I have to look this up because it was so in depth. So basically, they traded the 3 pick, and I think they got whatever the Niners had, and then I think it was like 18 or something, and then they traded back and somehow ended up with the 6th and the 18th pick, and then they got
They traded over to the 12th pick, and then they traded with Philadelphia, and were able to get back in there. So, it's they've been busy and they've been doing their thing, trying to get them, position themselves. They have a lot of draft capital now, and they're just kind of moving around. It's crazy how when you look at their Laramie Tunsil trade that went to the Texans, all of a sudden, they've gained all this draft capital from that one move. So kudos to them. All of a sudden, an organization that looked like they couldn't get out of their own way is starting to slowly, kind of find its groove and starting to make some noise. So we'll see what happens there.
So do you think? I mean, with the 3 pick now, I mean, you're talking, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, possibly at quarterback, which I don't think either one of them would be a bad play in San Francisco. But there's also a possibility that one of those guys could fall to the 6th for Miami. So Miami could get the guy they wanted at 3 and for 6 now. So again, I think
more draft capital. Yeah,
with the Tua thing, we still don't know what the whole situation is there. But with the Niners moving up into 3, I think Jimmy G might be going back to New England. You might be able to dust off that old Jimmy G jersey that you got over there.
I do believe that ultimately what you're going to see is you're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo in New England. I mean, I just think it's going to happen. They came out today and already softened up on their stance and said, listen, he is our quarterback. Moving forward, he is our guy. But if somebody blows our socks off with a deal, then we will consider it and we will make a move as needed.
I remember when Carson Wentz was the guy for Philly. Remember that? And then they drafted Jalen Hurts. So we'll see. It's gonna be. I'm excited about the draft, the NFL draft, man, because it's the only thing that could go wrong is for some reason Jacksonville decides to not take Trevor Lawrence at 1. That's the only thing I can think of.
If that happens, you want to talk about a monkey wrench. Holy crap. That is just absolutely gonna just
Urban Meyer might retire before the season starts.
Like I just think that it's the first time in the history of the NFL draft that we would see in the first round. You know how when we do fantasy football, we're like, listen, we don't need a clock. It's the first freaking round. Everybody knows who they're picking.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll see every team hit the clock and be like, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, what do we do? Because it's just going to completely screw everything up. I mean, it's just going to be but I mean, we see some surprises. Remember Kyler Murray going all the way to 1.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that was going to happen. Baker Mayfield going number 1. Nobody thought that was going to happen. So is this the season where Zach Wilson sneaks in there and goes to number 1?
If Zach Wilson goes 1, obviously this is depending on how he works. I mean, I don't foresee Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson doing too much in the combine because they don't need to.
Yeah.
But if Zach Wilson is going to do anything, there's a possibility if he goes into the combine, he could move up into 1. And this is just me. I've got to take Trevor Lawrence at 1. Now, the interesting thing is like, again, to go back to San Francisco now, is Mac Jones is on the table, Justin Fields will be on the table, Trey Lance will be on the table, and the only other team that really needs a quarterback other than Jacksonville and the Jets is Carolina. And they're picking at 8, which is going to be a little interesting because I know obviously New England at 15, there's a possibility they could end up with Trey Lance, obviously too. There's some rumblings on that. So it's going to be interesting because I love seeing the quarterbacks go because, obviously the quarterbacks set the tone for how everyone drafts in fantasy with Jacksonville and with the Jets and with San Francisco and with Carolina. These guys got a quarterback that can do anything. Well, now we can start picking wide receivers. Is the running back going to be good at all? So,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think again with Atlanta, no one is, for some reason, nobody is picking Atlanta to take anything either. And I just, at some point, Atlanta's going to have to make a move and get somebody to develop behind Matty Ice because he is a great veteran quarterback. He's a good leader. And if you're going to get a quarterback to play behind him, he needs to know, listen, we're going to take this guy. We want you to play for another year or 2. Teach him everything you know, and then you can ride off into the sunset,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be a surprise to see him moved, for them to try to gain some draft capital of their own. Plenty of teams that I'm sure would love to have him that are thinking, you know what, he still has plenty in the tank and he just needs a change of scenery. So, definitely a possibility to see him get moved, especially on draft night.
So you want him in New England?
I take him in New England, honestly. I mean, I would. A day removed from 328, a magical day up in New England.
Full circle?
Yeah. We can I take him, but we're gonna get Jimmy G. So what the heck?
Well, I'm interested to see who Dallas takes. Obviously, I think it's going to be a toss up between Patrick Surtain and Trevon Moehrig from UCF, Go Horned Frogs, or sorry, from TCU, Go Horned Frogs. And another guy to keep out. This is the homegrown guy we want to keep an eye on is Richie Grant, the DB from UCF, and to see if he cracks the first round. So that'll be pretty sweet too. So we'll be keeping an eye on all that stuff. When is the draft? It's coming up, isn't it?
It's probably most of the time it's April. So unless they've changed something because of COVID, it should be somewhere around that time. So we're about a month away from
literally.
The day.
Oh my God, that's so exciting! So, football's back already.
All that excitement of it, starts coming back, and so we'll see what happens there, and moving forward. Hey, I do want to throw something out to you. I know that that previously in some of our stuff we always end up talking food, and I remember we did a ranking on fast food joints, and I don't know where we ended up with Popeyes, but let me tell you, over the weekend, I for whatever reason I decided, I want some Popeyes, and
okay.
I was out with the wife, and we're driving around, we're running some errands, and I said, you know what? I turned to her, I said, I'm going to do something I haven't done in quite some time, and I turned into Popeyes, and was quickly reminded why I don't frequent Popeyes, because very different to Chick-fil-A, which will take your order before you've even made the parking lot.
Yeah.
And have it for you before you even hit the window. I was at the Popeyes drive-thru for probably a good 35, 40 minutes.
Oh my God. I would have drove off.
I wanted to, but I was stuck already. You know how you get inside the little lane there and you're like, oh crap, what do I do now? I can't leave. I'm not going to run to curb. It's like that awkward, situation. They take forever to take, for me to get to order.
Mm-hmm.
Then as I get away from the little, microphone thing or whatever, I roll around, I get to the window, no cars in front of me, and then I sit there and wait for another 10 minutes. And I'm like, Jesus, this is just unacceptable. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, food was good, enjoyed my Popeyes, but damn, that's why I don't go to Popeyes.
Did you get the sweet heat sauce? That's the best sauce they have. Sweet heat is so good.
I can't do any of the heat stuff, man.
That's true. You're an old man. You gotta watch the digestive tract there.
I do. It really does a number on me. So I have to stay with the bland stuff.
I went to Gators Dockside on Saturday.
Okay.
So if you guys never been to I wouldn't say it's a dive bar because it's a chain, but they're known for their wings. Obviously, I never eat their wings. Obviously, but man, we had 15 of us, and I tell you what, man, the girl that we had serving us, she was on top of it. I downed my first drink, and every time she came back to the table, she just brought me another drink. I wasn't even asking anymore. She just and I was like, you know what, that right there, that's what keeps you coming back right there. If your drink is never empty, I'm happy. I don't care if the food is garbage. As long as I got my sweet tea, bottomless sweet tea, I'm good. Because I'm going to drink $30 worth of tea. So I'm good to go.
Yeah. We had a real nice visit this past Friday. As a family, we went out to dinner, and we were at Tibby's here locally in Orlando, which is
that's a whole another level.
Yeah, it is a fantastic restaurant, and we had, we always have a great time when we're there. The atmosphere is really good. A little cold this time around. The ladies in my family were complaining a little bit about being cold, but
better than being hot, though.
All in all, great food, great atmosphere, just the whole feel and look of the place. It's awesome. So for you local folks here in Orlando, Central Florida, check out Tibby's. Will not disappoint. For sure. So,
I tell you what, because it's a New Orleans style cuisine at Tibby's. And I've been to New Orleans, and I tell you what, it is the closest thing I've ever had to New Orleans style. I mean, their shrimp and grits are fire. Their chicken positrain is fire. I mean, everything they make there, they don't make anything that's not good. And they have really cool, they have really good craft beers. If you guys are into that, I think they have a lot of Abita, which is good. So yeah, Tibby's, man, don't sleep on Tibby's. You guys ever see one, just beep, pull in there.
Yeah, it's definitely a good little restaurant here locally for us. So, yeah, man. I mean, hey, sports are a little slow, so we have to keep the variety going. You know what I mean?
It's March Madness, though.
But is it really? Not. I mean, yeah, I guess there is more madness this year than there's been in some time, but just quite doesn't feel the same. I guess this whole bubble thing is just not, quite the same.
Well, the big thing is the first round and the second round were just complete. I mean, there's not one person that could have possibly picked. I think it was like 2 15 seeds, a 14 seed, a 12 seed, a 13. Like every team that was supposed to be a shoe-in just crapped it. Florida lost too. And the one team that's no surprise, obviously, are my Zags. They're still in it.
I have no excuses right now. No excuses.
No excuses.
Every possible, kind of speed bump is out. Is Loyola Chicago out?
Are
they still in?
There's a game going on right now. Oregon State is losing by 6 to Houston, number 2 Houston, with 20 seconds left. So that game should be over. Arkansas and Baylor, that's the other big game because I have Baylor in the championship. They play in about 30 minutes. They tip off. So let me see who's left here in the bracket. Where's the bracket? Okay, here we go. So we got Baylor's playing Arkansas. Gonzaga's playing USC tomorrow. And then we got Oregon State. So Oregon State beat Loyola Chicago. Houston's going to move on, and then UCLA plays Michigan tomorrow. So Michigan should win that game. So it's looking like it's probably going to be Michigan and Houston in the Final Four, and then it's going to be whoever wins the Baylor game and whoever wins the Gonzaga game. So we possibly could have 3 number 1 seeds, which would be 3 of the teams I had in the Final Four, actually. There you go. So that's going to be
Well,
interesting.
I mean, hey, Loyola is out. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Thanks,
I'm
Bill.
right.
But here's the thing: I want you to keep your eyes on,
Sister
okay?
Jean.
I want you to keep your
What's
eyes
that?
on my boy. When you get a chance to watch the Gonzaga game, okay? Watch
Mhm.
my boy Drew Timme, because this guy is the truth, okay? If he makes it, in the NBA, mark my words right now, I don't care what team he goes to, I will get a Drew Timme jersey. I'll mark it
Timmy.
right now, because this guy, man, he's averaging 19.7 rebounds a game, which in college, it's respectable numbers. But the thing is he plays on a team. You know what I mean? He's not like this guy, the number one pick, that's going to get 30 points and just he has no business being in college. This guy is the truth. Drew Timme. Mark it down. Gonzaga Bulldogs. Number 2.
Hmm.
Oof,
Okay.
Drew
Okay.
Timme.
All right. Well, I mean, have to keep an eye out for Mr. Teme.
So
Moving
did you have a
forward,
bracket
so.
at all?
No,
You
I
didn't
didn't
fill out a
have a
bracket?
bracket. I just kind of snuck up on me if March Madness can
It's
do
because
that
we
to
don't work
a
yet. See,
person.
if we were working together, I think I would have printed out like 40 of the brackets and had all the guys at work fill them out, and we could have played.
Yeah.
Everybody throwing $5
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like we talked about in the past, college basketball is not really my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time kind of sticking to those games. And then, if you see a good atmosphere, then yeah, sometimes that kind of brings you into, Cameron Crazies, kind of stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But, with them being in a bubble situation and, it's just, I don't know, to me, it's not quite as exciting. I guess to me to see, interesting development can be, Michigan making it and potentially winning it. And, Juwan Howard, who didn't he make it several times to the championship game only to lose? So,
That was with the Chris Webber, wasn't it?
yeah, he was part of that Fab Five or whatever it was.
They had a
And
squad. Timeout.
it'd be yeah, yeah. It'd be kind of cool to see him, get back there and potentially win as a coach.
Well, they're going
to
to have to. So Michigan would have to play. If they win, they would play the winner of the Gonzaga USC game to get into the championship. I believe.
Okay.
I think no. Yeah, I think yeah. Yes. And then it's going to be Houston versus the winner of Baylor and Arkansas.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we'll see. It sounds like that bracket's got some pretty good matchups, coming up. So
the potential
see how
is
that
there.
all shakes out. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we have baseball around the corner. We have MLS. We do have as folks can see on our page here, our background, Orlando City. We are Orlando City fans. We do have some ties to Orlando City. We are working on some stuff through them. I actually just had a conversation over the weekend with one of my folks over there that is trying to set us up with some cool stuff. So hopefully we can share that as we move along with everybody. And hopefully we try to grow this thing on YouTube. It hasn't something new to the two of us, and I think that it's something that we can definitely keep working at and keep getting a little bit better and try to make it a nice, enjoyable show for everybody with a little variety.
I think, and once we get the word out, I think that was the big thing. Is tonight was kind of we're gonna go on YouTube and let's do it. And let's have no expectations. That's why we didn't really, market this too much to you guys. We didn't post it all over because we didn't know what was going to happen. And thank God, because we went live and thought we were live and we weren't live. So, the first 15 minutes we were like, hey, why is nothing showing up? We don't know what's going on. But I think we might have figured it out. So, next week, obviously, we're going to be blowing this up a little bit more. Hopefully, we'll have some different news. Obviously, March Madness will be coming to a close. And we'll have hopefully some other stuff going on, man, because it's getting boring. We're gonna have to start talking about.
Well, we have
politics.
We'll have we have some topics that we can definitely hit on, and we'll make sure that we'll get all that prepped and ready to roll for everybody, just to add to the madness, and to try to keep everybody entertained out there, and show like I said, a little bit of variety of a little bit of everything. It doesn't always have to be sports with us, even though we are Sideline Sport Talk. We will bring you a little bit of everything. So we do tend to get into food. Ironically enough, I can't cook worth a lick, but definitely do like talking about it. So we will, bring some cool stuff. And like you said, we're trying to grow this thing, trying to get into the YouTube side now. Moved away from a little bit of of what we were doing. Kind of got us going, but we feel like this is definitely the platform that's going to get us moving to that next level. So looking forward to meeting some folks along the way and bringing some entertainment into your ears and your homes.
So one thing I did want to mention we haven't discussed is Deshaun Watson, now facing 19 sexual assault lawsuits. And one of them supposedly he is trying to settle outside of the whole situation. Yeah. Which normally I'm not going to say just because you're trying to settle means you're guilty by any means, but do you think, now because he's been very vocal about wanting out, do you think the Houston Texans had anything to do with this at all?
Well, that would be crazy. I mean, if that's the case, you want to talk about a conspiracy theory, that would definitely be something. I don't know. I don't think so. I'd like to think no, at least that a team wouldn't do something like that. I do think, however, that Deshaun Watson is not playing this upcoming season. I think if you think back at your boy,
he better not play the season. I'm pissed.
Ezekiel Elliott had 6 games for an allegation.
He pulled out a girl's boobie.
Not the right thing to do. I
think it was
the imagination.
I think he was with her that at that time too. I don't know, but this is a little deeper because this is 19 lawsuits now. Now all these women are getting behind the same attorney, which is pretty common from a legal aspect. If you guys aren't familiar, a lot of times when stuff like this happens, the first attorney that gets on it, he's going to have the most momentum rolling with it. So a lot of them are going to jump on that train. But these are all massage therapists, from what I understand. None of them work for the team. Now you have massage therapists that work for the team. Why you're not utilizing them? That's got to raise one of the biggest questions for me. Number 2 is the fact that all of the allegations seem pretty similar. Like basically he was serially doing this.
Yeah, there's a pattern there to either everybody's getting together and saying, "Hey, this is a story, we're all sticking to it," or there's some truth to it.
But either way, this is misconduct at its. I mean, this is misconduct at its finest. And to go along with what you were saying, with Zeke getting 6 games, there's got to be something. Something's got to be done about this because people get suspended for way less. And this is especially in the world we live in now with the Me Too movement and all this other stuff. I'm surprised that we're not hearing more about this. Honestly, it's going to be because the tough thing is you look at it from a talent perspective. He's a top 5 talent when it comes to numbers. And
what
now,
team is now going to want anything to do with him? You know what I mean?
Which is why I think Houston leaked it. I think Houston knew about this. They've been protecting him, saying, "Hey, everything's good." They knew about this on the side, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Hey."
Okay. So, I guess basically what you're saying is, hey, we're Houston. We are going to basically give him up for a year minimum. You know what I mean? If this shakes out to be not true, or some of it is not true, and there's minimal portions of it that are, and they find some way somehow, he finds his way not into jail or to face serious legal action. I think the NFL still suspends him, so maybe
it drives his value down.
Trying to say is the Texans are saying, hey, listen, we'll sit him out for a year and we'll take the hit, and then he'll have no value next year. Nobody will want to touch him, and he'll be forced to play for us.
Boom.
That's a hell of a of a plan.
I'm calling it, dude.
Heard of one. Yeah, you want to talk about conspiracy?
Now that's never going to come out. Nobody's ever going to admit to that. But I'm telling you right
Lance
now,
Armstrong thought his story was
that's
never
true.
going to come out, and that came out.
I'm
So,
telling you, man. I got like this is. I mean, the timing. One, okay. Two, it makes too much sense to either drive his value down so that you can basically have to keep him and utilize him, and he has to play for you, or in the very worst case, he just walks away from football. Something happens where he does get suspended for a year because I mean, we've never seen this before. We've never seen a quarterback who's facing a suspension like this. Should be facing a suspension like this, and for them to come back and be successful. There's been quarterbacks that have left and come back. Mike Vick came back. I think he was better when he came back. He was, but he was actually in jail, in prison.
Yeah, there was no option for him to be on a team.
He did was work out all day.
Out. Yeah. But I would say, I mean, at minimum, he should be on the exempt list, and be out of football until everything is cleared up. So, with that being said, I don't see a Deshaun Watson move happening right now. I mean, why would you, as a team, try to risk that, giving up, a couple of first-round picks for a guy that you may not see at all?
Yeah.
Or, at minimum for, a season. As long as this thing is going on, I don't think that the NFL is going to want him on a field, So,
right.
I think he's going to stay a Texan until this thing kind of is done, and one way or another, whether that means done as in he is acquitted or whatever the case may be of these allegations against him, and then he goes back to playing football, or he's done in the sense that maybe found guilty, goes to jail, or the NFL says, "Listen, we don't want you, and you're out."
Yeah, because we don't know what kind of evidence there is. I mean, obviously, there's enough evidence to have this many people in there. Normally when you see something like this, and it's one person saying, "Hey, so and so did this to me," it usually gets swept under the rug, and they settle outside of court. With this many people now, it really is. I mean, the only other thing I can think that if Houston did something like that, if they were to have done something like that, it would be to maybe there's some kind of clause in his contract or something that we don't know about that could result in them being able to terminate it and walk away from having to pay him, something like that. But it's definitely going to be interesting. Houston football, especially with them getting Mark Ingram over there. Everybody was getting excited about the running game again, and now all eyes are on Jacksonville.
And maybe that's why they were doing it. Maybe that's why they went out and we're trying to build up a running game, knowing that they're going to have whether it may be a backup quarterback in there or a young guy that they draft that's going to need a running game to help develop that guy. So maybe that's what they're doing. They were setting themselves up for what they know is going to happen. At the end of the day, I mean,
they got Tyrod Taylor. They got Tyrod Taylor. So
hey, just keep the needles away from him. And you'll be all right. But we don't want a repeat. Poor guy, man. Jesus, goes to the sideline thinking he's going to get one thing and ends up in the hospital. I mean, that's terrible. But I mean, it's just a bad situation for Deshaun Watson, and I guess today the news came out where he's trying to delete tweets or Instagram posts or whatnot, which none of it just sounds good for him. I mean, having something to do with law enforcement, years ago, I want to give guys the benefit of the doubt, but when you start pulling stuff off like this, it just doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Doesn't pass the smell test, and the court of public opinion is definitely going to start shaping an opinion with all these little tidbits that are popping out.
Oh, and that's the thing, especially with something like this and this many people, is you look at the celebrities and big name people that have been in the same boat, and where are they now? You know what I mean? Like one of them went to prison and killed himself. Who's the other guy? The movie guy, Weinstein. He's gone.
Yep.
I mean, in the cancel culture world we live in, man, this is not the side you want to be on. And I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be.
It's interesting to me because you have an organization in Houston I wonder if the league is taking any kind of look at them, saying, you know what? I mean, we have this situation with Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's his own person, right? But he's a part of an organization that people are asking questions, as to what the heck is going on over there. You got players speaking out. You have a long time player in J.J. Watt who decides that he wants out, and yeah, you can say it's because I'm fed up with losing and I want a better situation. But a guy who has done so much for the community and yet comes out and is just, it's not like he said any great things about the Texans. He came out and said a lot of great things about the community and the people and the fans there, but not a whole lot that I can remember about, the Texans as an organization. You have, Andre Johnson that came out, and he was very, very tough on what he was saying about them. I wonder if the league is starting to look at it and starting to piece some things together, saying, what kind of organization is being run down here in Houston where, you have guys saying all this stuff. Yeah, it's just players that are fed up with things, and you can kind of sweep that under the rug and say whatever. Guys are angry. But then you have, stuff like this happening. And like you said, how much of this did Houston know with Deshaun Watson? If in fact this is something that really did happen, and did they know stuff and just said, hey, superstar quarterback, we just kind of let it be, or or did they really not know anything? I just wonder what the NFL, what their thoughts are on this whole thing.
And you see this a lot in college, with the coaches and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep things under wraps to protect the players, protect themselves. And now you're on another level where it makes you question too, how much power does the league have over a team when something like this happens? Because this is obviously it's a defamation of the league, it's a defamation of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it defamed him, but again, I think you're right. At some point, do they step in and start, hey, listen, we're going to assign you guys a PR guy or something to start taking over some of this stuff, start handling it a little bit better? Because nobody, I haven't heard anything from the Houston organization about this on their thoughts on it, and maybe they're staying hands off so that they don't want to get involved, they don't want to make any accusations before the truth comes out or what.
And remember, Tim, they had a long time, I believe, PR person, female at that. And her name escapes me, but I believe that they had and she was let go, if my memory serves me right. And I do believe that was in Houston. And there was questions about that at the time as to what the heck is going on. Why are they letting her go? So I just wonder, what the NFL, what their thoughts are on, protecting the shield, and maybe start asking questions, start snooping around a little bit more. How long before that starts happening, if in fact it does happen?
Yeah, and again, I think they're having a new head coach this year, right? They're gonna have David Culley, and I just feel like they're in this revolving door of trying to get out of this rut that they're in, and now their starting quarterback has put them in an even deeper one. And is Tyrod Taylor the answer? Is AJ McCarron the answer? These guys, I don't think so. I think they're going to fall back into a mediocre team at best. And now they've, I don't know, shot themselves in the foot. Houston Texans are in trouble. They are in trouble.
Yeah, they are. Man, it's going to be, it's never something you look forward to see these things unfold, because people's lives are being affected in one way or another. So, but hopefully, whatever the best possible outcome is here, hopefully that's what comes out of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think anybody wins in this scenario. I think either the victims get ignored, something comes out to show that. But the thing is with that, it's this is where I don't know how it works. Is with that many people, is it all one situation, or is it 19 separate situations?
I think potentially that can become like individual charges,
right,
per person. So yeah, it's gonna be it's a lot there for Deshaun Watson to have to untangle from.
Well, he's an idiot. So let's move on from that, because
yeah,
now that was my guy. That was my fantasy guy, and now he's just a big old piece of shit. Allegedly, allegedly a piece of shit.
Until proven otherwise.
So another big thing I've been wanting to get on with you, and I wanted to start talking to you about TikTok and how much more we want to start doing, because I think the problem with TikTok is I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to make videos, and I don't know how long it takes to make one. Like if news comes out and we want to post something on Instagram, you're on top of it. I mean, it's quick, it's beautiful, something I would pay for. But how does TikTok work? Because I know you've made a couple of TikToks for us.
Nothing great. And it's been quite some time. I know that we're trying to evolve into all these social media outlets, but it's not terribly hard to make a video. And to get it on there. I mean, it's up to the people. If they want to see us on TikTok, I say they let us know. You know what I mean? We also have the ability to make some of these other shorter ones that we're going to start, we'd like to start posting on our YouTube channel as well to accompany, this podcast. So stay tuned for those. But TikTok, I don't know. It's a little tricky, We
gotta start practicing. I gotta get on my private account and start seeing what we can do, because obviously we're not gonna be doing any dances or anything, not yet. Maybe when we hit the big time.
No.
But I definitely
we can make a fool of ourselves just fine without dancing.
Yeah, I think because with me, I think the audio tracks you can use and the music and stuff is what can add to the intensity or comedic timing or something like that, and that's something that I want to learn to utilize, because I got a mind full of songs and they're there, but we just got to find the right mentality. And on top of that, speaking of comedic timing, U.S. men's soccer team failing to make the Olympics again.
Yeah, it's that's a tough one there. But here's the deal, when you look at it, it's just kind of weird what they did there, right? Because first of all, a lot of people have been pointing this out, and I agree with it 110%. They go out there and they add Jason Christ as their head coach. For a lot of folks that don't know about soccer, Jason Christ was head coach of NYCFC in the MLS, and then he actually became the head coach of our local team here with Orlando City. Both jobs, he got fired. It's MLS, for crying out loud, and you couldn't make it. So now you're playing against, what are, potential world-class athletes out there. It is the U23s that he was coaching. But with that being said, they should have done much better than what they did. I mean, they vastly underperformed. I will say this, though, about U.S. soccer. They are on a 9-game unbeaten streak with the big club. So, where our main players are, they have been playing very, very well. They had a win this past weekend. They're showing up. They're playing. It looks like they're getting better and better with time. We have a guy here locally in Daryl Dike who is a freak of nature.
My brother is a big fan of DK, by the way.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it's like watching Shaq in the NBA. Mm-hmm. That's when you're watching DK. He literally puts guys on his back like he's Shaq posting up in the box and just pass me the ball. I got this. I mean, the guy's a freak of nature. He can run. He's rough, tough. He's a big boy. Unfortunately, I do believe that there's people out there, soccer talking heads that are saying, Orlando City, take the $10 million that they're offering you for the guy and let him go to Europe. I'm of the mindset of, you know what? It's time for the MLS to start keeping guys.
Yeah.
And so Orlando, find a way to keep Daryl Dike and make some noise. You know what I mean? The guy can be that special. If they can get a team around him, he can lead them to a championship. But going back to the U.S. soccer, basically, like what I'm saying is, all their big players are on the big club, and they did not have any of these young guys playing on the U23 team. That is the one that qualifies for the Olympics. So Am I surprised that they did not do better? Yes. Am I surprised that they've lost the game? Um, I guess they could have decided, you know what, instead of a friendly with our big club, we could take some of those young guys and throw them down there and ensure that we get to the Olympics. That probably would have been the better option. But I can see why they lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even though we do have some younger talent coming through the ranks, which is something we haven't had in ages or ever, our good guys still are on the big club. So that's my piece.
That's it on soccer. Now let's talk about a couple field trips that we've got planned, and this is still up for grabs. Everyone's invited. May 1st is the first one. It's a Saturday. Night of Destruction at Orlando Speed World. Checking out the Destruction Derby if you guys have never been. It is amazing. I am super excited about it. Hoping nothing comes up, any emergencies that I'm going to miss this. But tickets are about $25. I think they're $10-15 for kids. Super excited. So I'm hoping I can get Ricky D out there with Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
Because man, this is something you just got to experience in your life.
Yeah.
And then the big one is I think May 15th. Is the Saturday home opener. It's not the home opener, but I guess it would technically be their fifth game fifth game at home. But it'll be the first weekend home opener of the Daytona Tortugas are playing the St. Lucie Mets. So that's another plan we're trying to do. The 15th and the 22nd, they both have home games on those Saturdays and the Sundays.
And we are a season late for Tim Tebow. Yeah, he retired.
That sucks. That would have been awesome. Well, if we would have had our shit together, we would have figured this out a year ago. But
that's right. That's right.
So we do have some things on the horizon, man. If you guys are hanging out, if you guys are in Orlando, we're going to be making some moves. But I think that is all we've got for tonight.
Yeah, I think we really wanted just to kind of test this thing out. A little bit of a stress test. On my side, I feel like my internet's always acting up a little bit, and I tried almost everything that I can do. I don't know, other than maybe I need to get Elon Musk to get me a satellite.
I think we'll lower the latency a little bit on the next one because we're running it normal right now, so we might try it one notch down. It looked good for me on actual YouTube, from where I'm seeing on the actual studio. Very little lag on you from the camera. Audio wasn't bad. It was a little choppy there about 10 minutes in, but other than that, we're good. And for being our first run, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us, man. And next week we'll be back. We're gonna post this a little bit more. Hopefully get some more peeps in the chat, get some people going, and we've got some local sports legends we've been trying to get in the chat that can talk a little bit more. But other than that, man, you got anything for them?
That's it, bud. I mean, hit them up with some of our socials. Make sure that you guys are following us on Twitter at Talk Sideline. Instagram is Sideline Sport Talk. Just find us, and hit the good old follow button. Follow us here on YouTube as well. Stay tuned for some of what we have coming for you guys. We are going to keep getting this thing better, and I think it's something you guys are really going to enjoy, and we enjoy for sure. Coming on here with you guys and spending some time with you guys. So appreciate the love all the time. And we're going to see you guys next week.
Definitely. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications. And we're gonna work on getting some new stuff in here, guys. We want to get some intros, we want to get some outros. Hopefully, now that it's on YouTube, we're gonna be getting some other stuff. We're no longer messing with that other streaming site that just was. It wasn't for us. It wasn't for us. We weren't with it. This is the home now. We've got a lot of support here. And other than that, guys, next week we'll be back and we will see you guys on